Hey folks, Henry with BrainStorm Acres here. I've had a few questions about how we're doing the straw bale gardening and a few other things in the garden, so come along and we'll take a tour. We're a little concerned because we don't see a lot of honeybees here this year. In fact, I haven't seen any, which is not good. Well, let's go ahead and go on over and take a look at the straw bale garden. I've had a few questions about what this material is. This is Agribond, which is an agricultural material that's primarily used in the north to protect against freeze. Out here, and in many other places, it's used to protect against insects, and around here, small hail. It does a great job. It's light, the light can get through, but the big thing about our use of Agribond here on the homestead is it cuts down on the wind. These tomato plants were just being beat to death by the high winds we had. When we planted the tomatoes out here in the straw bale garden, we had winds around 20 to 25 miles an hour after we planted them. That's not good. So even though we'd hardened them off, there was a chance they'd be damaged really badly. So we used these PVC hoops with the Agribond to provide a windbreak. This is a light breeze. These tomatoes are doing just fine. This dill plant, which is a volunteer, is really growing like crazy. That's fine, because we'll use the seeds and we'll dry some of the leaves. Our friend at CB's Greenhouse and Gardens, along with his wife Renee, are really the instigator for us to use straw bales this year. And the reason is we got a lot of extra tomato seeds that we hadn't expected to be planting. Well, as Irene and I looked at the garden, we figured out we were going to run out of space. So that's why we built the first straw bale garden, and now I found that we're 12 plants short of places to plant. So we're putting this together. It was really hot today. The sun's just gone behind some clouds, so it's cooling off a little bit, but it was over 90 degrees, which is fine, but it's hot, sweaty work moving straw bales that are starting to come apart because they're composting. Now that was a surprise to me, because when I was conditioning the other straw bales, they didn't warm up. The outside looked perfectly fine, but the inside was not so good, as it turns out. As you can see here, the bottom of this bale is definitely composting. And the bales are composted about halfway through. That's just fine for our purposes. Let's go take a quick look at the asparagus bed. You'll be able to see the ferns that grow up from the asparagus. Now, Irene's mentioned this several times on our channel, but it never hurts to actually take a quick look. We stopped harvesting the asparagus a couple weeks ago. That's primarily because we were out of town. If we'd been in town, we could have harvested up until about this week. We need to go ahead and let these asparagus put their energy down into the roots. That will allow us to have a nice harvest next year. The compost pile is filling up, It's mostly because the straw bales I was bringing down from the greenhouse to make the second straw bale garden started breaking up. Now I don't have a frame to hold these together, so it's important when I put the plants in the bales are intact. We'd hoped that we'd be able to start composting this year using straw, and it's working. I think in years gone by, we didn't have enough material in the compost pile. It dried out just too fast. Now we have enough material in here that it holds water long enough to start composting. I hope this has helped answer some of the questions that a few of you have had. If you have questions about how we've done other things on our homestead, leave us a note. Thanks for watching.